You have seen it your entire life. In gun shops, at ranges, in the hands of soldiers in every conflict America has fought since Vietnam, on the covers of magazines, at the center of every political debate about firearms in America for the last 30 years. The AR-15. If you have spent any time around firearms, you have heard the arguments, people who swear by it, people who prefer the AK-47 for reliability, people who argue the M14 was a better battle rifle, people who say the whole platform is overrated. The debate has been going on since Eugene Stoner first put the design on paper in the late 1950s, and it shows no sign of ending. But here is what almost nobody in that debate has ever fully explained. The AR-15 is the best-selling rifle in American history. According to the National Shooting Sports Foundation, there are approximately 20 million AR-15 style rifles in civilian hands in the United States. 1 in every 20 Americans owns one. Nearly 1 in every 4 guns manufactured in America today is an AR-15 style rifle. The platform has been in continuous production since 1963. It has been adopted in some form by the militaries of over 80 countries. Every major rifle manufacturer in the world, from Heckler & Koch to FN to Ruger to Smith & Wesson, has spent the last 60 years either copying it, competing with it, or trying to improve upon it. The question nobody has fully answered is why. Not why people buy it, not the political argument about whether they should. The engineering question is this: what did Eugene Stoner design in 1956 that was so fundamentally correct, so precisely optimized for the specific combination of requirements that a modern infantry rifle has to meet, that 60 years of subsequent development by the best firearms engineers in the world has not produced a design that meaningfully surpasses it? The answer is not what most people assume. And understanding it requires understanding something about the AR-15's design that most people who own one have never been told. So what exactly did Eugene Stoner get right in 1956 that every competitor has spent 60 years trying to replicate? Why does the AR-15's direct impingement gas system, the system that caused catastrophic failures in Vietnam, remain the dominant operating system in the most popular rifle in American history? What is the buffer tube, and why does it allow the AR-15 to do something no other rifle design can do as effectively? Why does the AR-15's modular design, the ability to change calibers, barrel lengths, stocks, and handguards without replacing the entire rifle, represent a manufacturing and commercial insight that the firearms industry did not fully appreciate for decades? Why does the AR-15 weigh 6.5 pounds when the M14 it replaced weighed nearly 10 pounds? And what does that weight difference mean for the soldier who carries it 20 miles before firing a shot? And why, after 60 years of competition, does the United States military's newest rifle, the XM7, still use the same basic operating principles that Stoner designed in 1956? Here is the one that should stop you completely. According to the Sonoran Desert Institute's History of the AR-15, in 2024, there is little debate that the AR-15 is America's rifle. The platform that was rejected by the Army in its original form, that failed catastrophically in Vietnam due to procurement decisions that had nothing to do with the design itself, that was banned from civilian sale for 10 years, and that has been at the center of the most contentious political debate in American firearms history, is now the most widely owned rifle in the history of the United States. The design that every expert said was wrong turned out to be the best design in the history of American small arms. Now, most people who know the AR-15's commercial success assume it is primarily a product of marketing and politics. The AR-15 looks military. It is black and angular and tactical in appearance. Civilian buyers are attracted to the military aesthetic. The gun industry marketed it effectively. The political controversy around it made it more desirable. The Streisand effect applied to firearms. People buy it because it looks cool, and because being told they cannot have it makes them want it more. That assumption is not entirely wrong. The military aesthetic matters. The political controversy has driven sales. The marketing has been effective, but that account is incomplete in a way that misses the most important reason entirely. The AR-15 has outsold every other rifle in American history, not primarily because of how it looks or because of political controversy. It has outsold every other rifle because of what it does, and specifically because of one engineering insight that Stoner built into the design that no other rifle manufacturer had fully appreciated when the AR-15 was introduced, and that the entire industry has spent 60 years trying to replicate. The AR-15 is modular, not modular in the sense that you can add accessories to it, modular in the sense that the rifle itself is designed to be reconfigured for different calibers, different barrel lengths, different stocks, different handguards, all using the same lower receiver. The lower receiver is the legally defined firearm. Everything else is an accessory. And that single design decision, making the lower receiver the fixed component and everything else interchangeable, created a commercial ecosystem that no other rifle platform has ever matched. Now here's what Eugene Stoner actually designed, why the specific engineering decisions he made were so consequential, and why 60 years of competition have not produced a design that meaningfully surpasses it. The origins of the AR-15 are documented by both the Sonoran Desert Institute and the World War II weapons history documents. According to the Sonoran Desert Institute, the progenitor of the AR-15 was an American machinist named Eugene Stoner. Stoner was born in Indiana, but moved to Long Beach, California as a child. He spent his early adult life in poverty during the Great Depression. Instead of going to college, he took a job at the Vega Aircraft Company, a precursor to Lockheed Martin. When the United States entered World War II, he enlisted in the Marine Corps. He worked in aviation ordnance, which exposed him to weapon systems for the first time. After the war, Stoner began working as a machinist. In 1954, he became chief engineer at Armalite, a small arms company based in Hollywood, California. It was at Armalite that he designed the gas-operated reloading system for the Armalite rifle, known as AR. The specific engineering decisions that made the AR-15 revolutionary. When you pick up an AR-15, you are holding a rifle shaped by decades of innovation. World War II rifle design influenced modern AR-15 development in ways you might not notice at first glance. From weight and balance to reliability and ease of use, many features trace back to weapons used on battlefields over 80 years ago. The first revolutionary decision was the GAS system. When AR-15 designers started their work, they studied World War II rifles closely. They aimed for something lighter than battle rifles, but still reliable in harsh conditions. Using lightweight materials like aluminum and polymer parts helped achieve this goal. One of the biggest lessons from World War II rifles was how to use gas to cycle a rifle automatically. The M1 Garand used a gas system to push the bolt back after each shot. This meant soldiers did not need to operate the bolt after every round manually. It made firing faster and kept troops more focused on the target. When designing the AR-15, creators adapted these ideas to a lighter, modern rifle. They refined the gas system to reduce recoil and improve accuracy. The direct impingement gas system that Stoner chose for the AR-15 routes propellant gas from the barrel directly into the bolt carrier group through a gas tube. The gas expands inside the bolt carrier key, driving the bolt carrier rearward and cycling the action. This system is lighter than a piston system because it eliminates the piston rod and its associated hardware. It keeps the reciprocating mass lower, which reduces felt recoil and improves accuracy during rapid fire. And it places the operating components inside the receiver rather than above the barrel, contributing to the rifle's low profile and straight-line stock design. Do you enjoy watching our videos? We would love to know in the comments. We put a lot of effort into our videos and make them absolutely free, but producing them is not free. If you have gotten any value from this channel and want to help keep daily uploads going, buying us a coffee through the link below makes a real difference. Every generous contribution helps improve our videos and keep daily uploads possible. Thank you for the support. Now, back to the video. The second revolutionary decision was the magazine system. According to the World War II weapons documents, World War II rifles taught armies that soldiers needed more than just a single shot at a time. The STG-44 introduced detachable magazines, allowing soldiers to reload quickly under pressure. When engineers created the AR-15, they borrowed this idea and improved it further. Modern detachable magazines hold more rounds and are easier to insert. This lets you reload almost instantly and keeps the rifle ready in critical moments. The AR-15's magazine design is a direct evolution of lessons learned from World War II. The AR-15's Stay-Ag magazine, the standardized 30-round detachable box magazine, became the most widely adopted rifle magazine in the world. In 2024, there are more than 20 million AR-15s in the hands of American civilians, and about 1 in 20 civilians owns at least one of these iconic rifles. It has become so ubiquitous that nearly 1 in every 4 guns manufactured today is an AR-15. The third revolutionary decision was the ergonomics. World War II rifles showed that comfort affects accuracy and soldier endurance. The AR-15 applies these ideas with modern touches. Adjustable stocks, ergonomic grips, and lighter materials make the rifle easy for almost anyone to handle. You can aim, carry, and fire with less strain, showing how comfort and practicality from World War II rifles influence your modern shooting experience. The adjustable stock, one of the AR-15's most commercially significant features, allows the rifle to be configured for shooters of different sizes and for use with different equipment configurations. A soldier wearing body armor needs a shorter stock than the same soldier without armor. A shooter with shorter arms needs a shorter stock than a shooter with longer arms. The AR-15's adjustable stock addresses both requirements with a single mechanism. The fourth and most commercially significant revolutionary decision was the modular architecture. According to the Sonoran Desert Institute, Stoner originally designed the reloading system for the AR-10 chambered in 7.62 by 51. But in 1957, the military decided to cut back on weight. They switched to the 5.56 by 45 cartridge, and Stoner redesigned the AR-10 as the AR-15, chambered in this new cartridge. The AR-15's split receiver design, with an upper receiver and a lower receiver connected by 2 takedown pins, created the modular architecture that has driven the platform's commercial success. The lower receiver contains the fire control group, the trigger, hammer, disconnector, and selector. It is a legally defined firearm. The upper receiver contains the barrel, bolt carrier group, and handguard. It is legally an accessory. This means that an AR-15 owner can change the caliber of their rifle by replacing the upper receiver without purchasing a new firearm, without completing a background check, and without any additional regulatory process. The same lower receiver can accept upper receivers chambered in 5.56mm NATO, 300 Blackout, 6.5 Grendel, 458 SOCOM, and dozens of other calibers. The same lower receiver can accept a 16-inch barrel for general use, a 20-inch barrel for long-range shooting, or a 10.5-inch barrel for close quarters use. The AR-15 takes this concept much further today. You can change stocks, grips, sights, and handguards with ease. This freedom exists because World War II rifle design influenced modern AR-15 development at a foundational level. Your rifle becomes a system that adapts to your needs, not a fixed tool. The commercial ecosystem that this modularity created is unprecedented in the history of civilian firearms. Every component of the AR-15, every stock, every handguard, every trigger group, every muzzle device, is manufactured by dozens of competing companies to the same dimensional standards. The aftermarket for AR-15 components is larger than the aftermarket for any other firearm platform in history. A shooter can build a complete AR-15 from components manufactured by dozens of different companies, all of which will fit together correctly because they conform to the same dimensional specifications. This is the insight that every competitor has spent 60 years trying to replicate. Not the gas system, not the caliber, not the ergonomics. The modular architecture that turned a rifle into a platform, a system that can be configured, reconfigured, and customized to meet any requirement without replacing the core component. According to the Sonoran Desert Institute, after Stoner developed the AR-15, the military spent the next 5 years testing it. In January 1963, Secretary of Defense Robert McNamara announced that the AR-15, under its new moniker of M16, would replace the M14 in Vietnam. Military adoption validated the design. Subsequent commercial success validated the modular architecture. Today, there are more than 20 million AR-15 rifles in the hands of American civilians. Their modularity, relative affordability, and ergonomics all explain why these rifles have become the most popular in the country. Here's what the AR-15's commercial dominance means in actual numbers, drawn from the Sonoran Desert Institute and the World War II weapons website. There are more than 20 million AR-15s in the hands of American civilians. About 1 in 20 civilians owns at least one. Nearly 1 in every 4 guns manufactured today is an AR-15. The platform has been in continuous production since 1963, over 60 years of uninterrupted commercial success. The weight advantage over its predecessor is documented by the Sonoran Desert Institute. The M16 itself weighed 7.4 pounds, 2.5 pounds lighter than the M14, which weighed nearly 10 pounds. The weight reduction was achieved through the use of aluminum receivers and polymer furniture, materials that the firearms industry had not used in a military rifle before the AR-15. 5.56 by 45 mm cartridges were lighter and allowed an individual soldier to carry more ammo. A soldier carrying 210 rounds of 5.56 mm ammunition carries approximately 6.5 pounds of ammunition. The same soldier carrying 210 rounds of 7.62 mm NATO ammunition carries approximately 14 pounds. The ammunition weight reduction, combined with the rifle weight reduction, gave the AR-15 equipped soldier a total weight savings of approximately 8 pounds compared to the M14 equipped soldier. Over a 20-mile patrol, 8 pounds is not a trivial difference. Since they are so iconic, AR-15s have become the face of the gun debate today. They have become so controversial that 10 states, California, Connecticut, Delaware, Hawaii, Illinois, Massachusetts, Maryland, New Jersey, New York, Washington, and Washington, D.C. have all worked to ban AR-15s in some form or another. The AR-15's path from Stoner's drafting table to America's most popular rifle is documented by the Sonoran Desert Institute and reflects a development history that includes military rejection, commercial failure, procurement disaster, and eventual vindication. Stoner originally designed the reloading system for the AR-10 chambered in 7.62 by 51 mm. The AR-10 competed for the military contract that eventually went to the M14. Armalite lost that competition. The AR-10 was not adopted by the US military. The redesign that produced the AR-15, chambered in the smaller 5.56 by 45 mm cartridge, was driven by the military's desire for a lighter rifle firing lighter ammunition. In 1957, the military decided to cut back on weight. They switched to the 5.56 by 45 cartridge, and Stoner redesigned the AR-10 as the AR-15. The commercial rights to the AR-15 were sold to Colt in 1959. According to the Sonoran Desert Institute, Armalite's business was developing small arms that could then be sold to manufacturers. Colt acquired the rights and pursued the military contract that eventually produced the M16 adoption in 1963. The Vietnam failures, documented in the M16 chapter of this book, were not failures of Stoner's design. They were failures of the procurement decisions made after the design was finalized. The ammunition change, the chrome lining omission, the self-cleaning myth. Each of these was a decision made by the Army and by Colt that undermined a design that had performed reliably in testing. At first, troops weren't particularly thrilled with the M16. The gun didn't operate well in the humid environment of the Vietnamese jungle. It would often jam in combat, leading troops to decry their new weapon as a failure. Some of them even preferred their old M14s to their new service rifles. The corrections that produced the M16A1, including chrome lining, improved ammunition, and better cleaning equipment, validated the underlying design. According to the Sonoran Desert Institute, after the US pulled out of Vietnam, the military implemented changes to make the AR-15 more robust. This new version appeared in 1970 and was dubbed the M16 and A1. the civilian market that eventually made the AR-15 America's rifle developed slowly. The platform's commercial success accelerated after the expiration of the federal assault weapons ban in 2004, which had restricted the sale of certain AR-15 configurations from 1994 to 2004. The AR-15 has become so controversial that 10 states have worked to ban AR-15s in some form or another. The political controversy that has surrounded the platform since the assault weapons ban debate has, paradoxically, driven sales. The Streisand effect applied to the most popular rifle in American history. The assault weapons ban restricted it for 10 years. Its expiration unleashed it. The political controversy that followed drove sales higher every time a legislator called for its removal from the market. The Streisand effect operating at the scale of an entire product category. But here is what the political debate on both sides has consistently missed. The AR-15 did not become America's most popular rifle because of its lethality or its controversy. It became America's most popular rifle because of its architecture. And that architecture, a fixed platform that supports infinite interchangeable components without replacing the core, is the same strategy that built the most valuable commercial ecosystem in human history. You have been using it every day. It just never had a pistol grip. You have been surrounded by the engineering principles of the AR-15 your entire life without recognizing it. The AR-15's modular architecture, the split receiver design that allows the upper receiver to be replaced without replacing the lower receiver, is the same platform strategy as the smartphone. A smartphone owner can change the applications running on their phone without buying a new phone. An AR-15 owner can change the caliber, barrel length, and configuration of their rifle without buying a new rifle. The lower receiver and the smartphone operating system are both fixed platforms that support interchangeable components. The commercial ecosystems that grew up around AR-15 modularity and around the smartphone app store both sprang from the same platform strategy. The direct impingement gas system that routes propellant gas through a tube directly into the bolt carrier group, keeping the reciprocating mass low and reducing felt recoil, is the same efficiency principle as the direct injection fuel system in a modern automobile engine. Direct injection delivers fuel directly to the combustion chamber rather than through an intermediate port, improving efficiency and reducing waste. The AR-15's direct impingement system delivers gas directly to the bolt carrier rather than through an intermediate piston, improving efficiency and reducing reciprocating mass. The automotive engineer and the firearms engineer are solving the same efficiency problem with the same direct delivery approach. The STANAG magazine standard, the dimensional specification that allows magazines from dozens of different manufacturers to function in any AR-15, is the same standardization principle as the USB standard that allows devices from hundreds of different manufacturers to connect to any computer. USB standardization created a commercial ecosystem where peripheral manufacturers could design products for a universal interface rather than for a specific computer. STANAG standardization created a commercial ecosystem where magazine manufacturers could design products for a universal interface rather than for a specific rifle. Both standards created commercial ecosystems that were larger and more valuable than any single manufacturer could have created alone. The aluminum receiver that makes the AR-15 lighter than its steel receiver predecessors is the same material substitution principle as the aluminum body panels on modern automobiles. Aluminum is lighter than steel for the same structural application. The weight savings improve performance, fuel economy in the automobile, and carrying comfort in the rifle. The automotive engineer who specified aluminum body panels and the firearms engineer who specified aluminum receivers were making the same materials trade off for the same reason. The adjustable stock that allows the AR-15 to be configured for shooters of different sizes is the same ergonomic adjustment principle as the adjustable seat in a modern automobile. A fixed seat optimized for the average driver is suboptimal for drivers who are significantly taller or shorter than average. An adjustable seat allows the vehicle to be configured for the individual driver's geometry. The AR-15's adjustable stock and the automobile seat are solving the same ergonomics optimization problem. Now for the honest part, because the historical record requires it, the AR-15's direct impingement gas system, the system that contributes to its accuracy and lightweight, is also the system that caused catastrophic failures in Vietnam. The system routes hot, carbon-laden gas directly into the bolt carrier group, and that deposits carbon on the most critical moving surfaces in the action. Without regular cleaning, that carbon accumulates to levels that prevent reliable cycling, and that is what produced many of the reliability problems observed in the field. The AR-15 requires more frequent cleaning than a piston-operated rifle like the AK-47 or the HK-416. The gun did not operate well in the humid environment of the Vietnamese jungle, and it would often jam in combat. The failures were caused by procurement decisions, the wrong ammunition, the missing chrome lining, and the self-cleaning myth, but the underlying vulnerability of the direct impingement system to carbon fouling is real and has never been fully eliminated. The political controversy that surrounds the AR-15 is also real, and it has real consequences. According to the Sonoran Desert Institute, AR-15s have become so controversial that 10 states have all worked to ban AR-15s in some form or another. Colorado is next on the list. The platform that is America's most popular rifle is also America's most politically contested firearm. That tension between the engineering achievement and the political controversy is part of the AR-15's story and cannot be honestly omitted. The XM7, the next-generation squad weapon that is beginning to replace the M4 in U.S. Army service, fires a 6.8mm cartridge at significantly higher velocity than the AR-15's 5.56mm round. The adoption of the XM7 reflects the Army's conclusion that the 5.56mm cartridge is insufficient against body armor-equipped adversaries at the ranges where American forces are now expected to engage them. The AR-15's caliber, the cartridge that made it lighter and more controllable than its predecessors, has proven insufficient against the threats of the 21st century battlefield. So here's where you actually land. You came in knowing the AR-15 was America's most popular rifle. What you now understand is why, and why that answer has almost nothing to do with politics, marketing, or military aesthetics. Eugene Stoner designed a rifle in 1956 that was lighter than anything that came before it, more accurate than anything that came before it, and most importantly, more modular than anything that came before it. The split receiver design that made the lower receiver the fixed component and everything else interchangeable created a commercial platform that no competitor has ever matched. The Stanag magazine standard that allowed magazines from dozens of manufacturers to function in any AR-15 created a commercial ecosystem that no competitor has ever replicated. The aluminum receiver and polymer furniture that made the rifle lighter than its predecessors created a weight advantage that no competitor has ever fully overcome. According to the Sonoran Desert Institute, in 2024, there is little debate that the AR-15 is America's rifle. The platform that was rejected in its original form, that failed in Vietnam due to procurement decisions that had nothing to do with the design, that was banned from civilian sale for 10 years, and that has been at the center of the most contentious political debate in American firearms history, is now the most widely owned rifle in the history of the United States. 20 million rifles, 1 in every 4 guns manufactured in America, 60 years of continuous production, 80 countries using some variant of the design. Every major rifle manufacturer in the world is either copying it, competing with it, or trying to improve upon it. That is not a marketing achievement. That is an engineering achievement. The engineering that Eugene Stoner put on paper in 1956, the gas system, the modular architecture, the aluminum receiver, the adjustable stock, was so fundamentally correct that 60 years of subsequent development by the best firearms engineers in the world has not produced a design that meaningfully surpasses it for the combination of requirements that a modern rifle has to meet. The competitors spent 60 years trying to copy it because the design was right. And the design was right because Stoner understood something that most firearms designers of his era did not. A rifle is not just a weapon, it is a platform. And a platform that can be configured, reconfigured, and customized to meet any requirement is more valuable than the best fixed design ever produced. That is the real reason the AR-15 became America's rifle. And if you think the AR-15's modular architecture is the most commercially significant engineering decision in the history of American firearms, wait until you find out what happens inside the AR-15's bolt carrier group in the 4,000ths of a second, between the trigger pull and the bullet leaving the barrel. The pressure, temperature, and mechanical sequence that happens in that window is more violent than most people realize. One component of that sequence is doing something to the bullet that determines whether it hits the target or misses by 3 feet at 500 yards. The engineering of what happens inside the AR-15 in less than 1/100th of a second is the story that most AR-15 owners have never been told. If you stayed with this story to the end, you now understand something that most people who own an AR-15 and most people who argue about AR-15s have never been told. The rifle is not popular because it looks military. It is not popular because of political controversy. It is not popular because of effective marketing. It is popular because Eugene Stoner designed a platform, not just a rifle, that could be configured, reconfigured, and customized to meet any requirement without replacing the core component. That design insight created a commercial ecosystem that no competitor has ever matched, and that 60 years of subsequent development has not surpassed. 20 million Americans own one. Nearly 1 in every 4 guns manufactured in America today is an AR-15. The design that every expert said was wrong turned out to be the best design in the history of American small arms. That is the real reason the AR-15 became America's rifle. It has nothing to do with politics. Drop a comment below. Tell us if you own an AR-15 and what you use it for. Tell us what you knew about the AR-15's engineering before this video and what surprised you. Tell us what you want us to cover next. Every comment helps this channel reach more people who care about this history and this engineering. And this story deserves to be heard by as many people as possible. It is the design that changed American firearms, the engineer who created it, and the 60 years of competition that proved it right. If you want to support the channel, there is a link for you to do so below. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one.